Well, hello everyone to the Essence of Tea podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Che, owner and founder of Sipping Streams Tea Company and a certified tea specialist. And you know that we are focusing on health and wellness, and we want to join you in your personal tea journey. So today we have our special guest, Charnise Cooley, who is here to share a little bit about her personal journey into health and wellness. Charnise Cooley, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and could you please share a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Charnise Cooley. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm married with 3 very active girls and a dog, so I have to remember him. And I work in IT, and I'm also a holistic nutritionist and MS fitness and wellness coach. I started on this journey. It has been a year of, I'll probably say for the past 4 years, dealing with a lot of different challenges that I have been experiencing that has ultimately led me to making some lifelong decisions, life-changing decisions rather, that has really came to be beneficial for me in the long run. So I don't know if you want me to go ahead and get started and kind of jump right into it.
So dive right in and let us know about how your journey began. What motivated you what happened, and then how did that change your perspective in life?
So it started, I would say, at about 2017, 2018. I was experiencing tingling and numbness in my body. I had immediately came out of surgery because I had just gotten my gallbladder removed. So I had some infection in my body, and I noticed soon afterwards, like immediately the next day, I experienced some tingling. And it was like a burning sensation. And I'm like, well, something's wrong here because I'm very in tune with my body. And I thought maybe the doctor may have hit a nerve because I'm just like, this is weird. And I went back for my follow-up and I said, I think you did something because I'm experiencing some tingling. And he was like, no, everything looks good. You may want to just get that checked out. And, I'm kind of scratching my head. And this continued. I didn't really think it was a serious thing, but it did continue, and it kind of, stayed on my mind that I'm still having this tingling sensation. And then I started experiencing other sensations, other weird things happening, because I am a runner, I'm a former athlete, and I like to go out and, on the track and participate, summer track with my kids. And I was in a race and I just was not able to run. And that's when I knew something was going on with my body. I literally had to come to a halt in the middle of a race. I didn't fall, but I was getting ready to. And again, I'm still wondering what's going on. So I visited many doctors and got a lot of tests, and I had some MRIs done, and it was like, oh, there's nothing there. The MRI was of the spine, but they didn't find anything. So still wondering, like, okay. So to make the long story short, my vision started changing. And this is just all like boom, 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 one after another. Went to one eye doctor, and he was like, well, typically around 40, you may have some vision changes because I forgot the name of the actual, the preopia or something like that, where, a lot of us who are over 40 have to start wearing reading glasses. And so that's what they told me. And it was like, oh, you'll be fine. You know, your eyes are doing well. And something within me wanted to get a second opinion. And I took a while, but I eventually went and got a second opinion just to make sure it was okay. Because typically, even if I put the reading glasses on, it will be clear, but it was still blurry. And I felt there something is maybe being overlooked. So that's when stuff started happening, because the second opinion, the doctor told me there's something going on with your eye. One thing led to another, and I got another MRI done. This one was again of the brain and of the spinal cord, and then that's when they ultimately diagnosed me with multiple sclerosis, and that was determined from me going to an eye doctor. So my whole entire life changed because I got the call while I was driving on the highway that I had MS, and I didn't even know what MS was. I didn't know what it was going to do to me. I didn't know how it was going to impact me. And, you know, the doctors were like, well, you need to start medication immediately. And I'm like, what medication? And what is it going to do? You know, I didn't know anything. And she wanted me to come in the very next day. And I'm like, oh, let's kind of pause here a little bit because, you know, this is kind of brand new. I don't know if I need to start right now. Let me, look into it. So she sent me the name of the meds, and, you know, it was just a lot going on. So I was, looking at all the different brochures and websites that she sent, and I was a little bit concerned because of the side effects. I just was getting a little bit of anxious, and I wasn't sure if this was the way I wanted to go, because I was on a vitamin D supplement. So I should have mentioned this earlier. So I'll kind of go back a little bit. So during this time frame when I was experiencing the numbness and tingling, the conventional doctors weren't able to give me any answers. I did meet with a functional medicine doctor, and what she recommended I do, she did like some blood tests and things like that. She said, you're deficient as far as my vitamins, especially in vitamin D. I was very, very low. And so she recommended that I start on a vitamin D regimen. Then she also suggested that I take an allergy test or a food sensitivity test, because she said it may be something that you're eating that's causing, some inflammation in your body. So I was like, okay, well, so I was doing that, while I'm working with the medical doctors trying to figure out what's going on. Had no idea that it was MS, but sorry about that. But that was her response. So I was already on a vitamin D regimen. So when I found out about the MS, I instantly thought of my functional medicine doctor, because it did kind of help with the tingling, like a lot of that kind of stopped a little bit. And I was able to, when I was running, it wasn't as bad, but I could still feel it. So it didn't totally go away. So I reached out to her, and she gave me some books to read. She told me about Terry Wald's, and I don't know if anybody's heard of Terry Wald's, and there's a lot of other documentation out there about MS, but and how you can be able to manage MS with diet and nutrition. So I decided to push back from what the medical doctors were recommending. And I decided to treat it naturally. Mostly because, I didn't have anything to lose. I felt like there's no cure for this disease. The medicine isn't going to cure it. It's going to slow it down. That's what they, say anyway. It's going to prevent any further lesions. And I did have lesions that were discovered. So I was concerned about that. And the doctors were saying, well, you might get more lesions if you don't start the medicine. So, I just had a lot going on, and I wasn't sure if I was making the right decision. I really had to really rely on my own faith and my faith in God, ensuring that I'm making the right decision. And I did have a peace, with that this was the right decision for me to make. And, as far as not going with the medicine. And over the past, I guess, 6 months, the doctors gave me, I guess, an ultimatum, and he was like, if the lesions are still progressing and they don't stop, or, if you're still having problems, in 6 months, because they wanted me to come back in 6 months to do another MRI, I would have to start the medicine immediately. So that was really my decision. I know it was risky, but I didn't know if the diet was going to work. So I changed my diet like totally. I did a total 360. I cut out all the processed foods and all the junk food and replaced it with green leafy vegetables, fruits, berries, beans, legumes. I mean, just pretty much everything that is natural, that is grown from the earth. And I was never been into diets. I didn't never believe in diet because I'm just like, I'm going to eat what I want to eat. And I ate always the wrong foods my entire life. I think with me being an athlete, I just automatically assumed if I go running, I'll burn off whatever I just, ate that was wrong as far as the carbs and things like that. And not really having a true understanding that some of the ingredients in the foods, like the GMOs or the hormones or the additives and, everything that they put in the foods that we consume, could ultimately impact me long term. Okay, so I didn't really see the light until things started happening to me, and I knew I needed to make some changes.
So for some of our listeners, they might not actually understand what multiple sclerosis is. Could you describe like what that means? What are lesions? What are they looking for? These people who are examining you, and these medical professionals who are examining you. And as a disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. Like Charnise is not a medical professional, and everyone's bodies are different. This is Charnise's personal story of what might, help a lot of you out there who have the same thing going on or have friends or family who have this. So Charnise, could you just go back a little bit and explain like what you're talking about, the lesions, or what that means, or what they're finding and why they were so concerned about that?
Yeah, so multiple sclerosis is basically, it's an autoimmune disease where your central nervous system, okay, your autoimmune system attacks the central nervous system, and it's most of it is in your brain and your spinal cord, and it attacks it attacks the myelin. We all have, you kind of think of it as you look at the wires, if you have like an audio wire, everything has like the little insulated cord. You see the red wires or the blue wires or the green wires, so you have that rubber portion, so that's the covering, that actually protects the inside of this wire. With multiple sclerosis, the autoimmune system starts attacking that coating, okay, that's protecting our nerves. And what happens is it attacks it to the point where the nerves are exposed. And then you start having these weird sensations going on throughout your body. Everybody is different. Multiple sclerosis is like a very mysterious disease because everybody may not have the same symptoms. They might not even have the same experiences. And my experiences that I have that I've dealt with might be different from somebody else, because there are some people who are disabled or unable to walk because of the damage that the MS has done within their body. But it creates the lesions. Okay, so as the autoimmune system attacks, the central nervous system, you start to develop these lesions in your body, and that's where there's damage that has already been done, in your brain, and it also can be in your spinal cord, which can cause disability.
So you were mentioning that then you started switching to like non-GMO, very more like plants-based diets, natural foods. What encouraged you to do that? What was like, oh, I need to change my diet, or I need to eat like that? Was it advice someone gave you, or how did you start eating healthy? Why did you start eating healthy? Did somebody tell you that? Or what prompted you? Or
Yeah, it was prompted by my functional medicine doctor, who happens to doesn't even live in the same state that I reside in. I actually met her when I was on a project out of town, and I needed a doctor to help me figure out why I can't sleep, why I'm not able to see, why, all of these things. And so just by working with her, she took a holistic approach, and just really trying to understand my whole entire wellness. I mean, she spent a lot of time asking me questions, going over my vitamins that I was taking. I ultimately had to throw them all out because she said it's trash. And I had to stop, she put me on some new vitamins. And, but she said it's really what we eat, as far as, the things that can cause our bodies to go out of whack. And it can lead to inflammation. So she really kind of put me on this road to looking at myself initially, and looking at what the foods that I eat and being aware of the inflammation. I had to take an inflammation test. It's called the set rate. And I don't know if anybody has ever taken the set rate test. That's like an acronym for it, but I would highly recommend you contact your doctor. I took the set rate test with her. Again, this is pre my awareness of being diagnosed, and my inflammation levels in my body were very high. And it's weird because, on my other tests, when you do the complete blood test, the CBC, my red blood cells and my white blood cells were always within range. So there wasn't really no inflammation there because I didn't, of course, I don't have cancer or anything like that. But on this other test, there was I was way out of range. So I had to get that within levels. And that's when she told me to start looking at the foods that I'm eating, because that was the goal, was to get those numbers down, those levels down, get the inflammation down in my body.
And this was pre-diagnosis, right?
This is pre-diagnosis. Okay. I had no clue. Yeah, I had no clue. So pre-diagnosis, work on getting the inflammation down. So she said, look at your diet, start eating better, and get your vitamin D levels up. And that's really how it started from there. And then it's like, it's like reading a book. You're just learning so much more. It's like, oh my gosh, chapter 3, diagnosis. And that started a whole new chapter for me. Yeah.
So you get diagnosed and you decide, so did you decide not to go with medication, or did you do medication and diet, or what did you do?
I did not go with medication at all. I contacted her once I spoken to a lot of doctors, because I contacted about 3 neurologists in Atlanta, and was, asking, is there any way I could be able to manage this without the meds? I'll be honest, I was a little bit concerned. I didn't want to be on medicine that was going to suppress my immune system. And I was feeling pretty good. I was feeling healthy. I felt I didn't have any issues with any of my body, except for, of course, what I just found out. And I just wanted to ensure that was the right course of treatment for me. I was my own self-advocate. And I know I may have been going against the norm because the neurologists all were MS specialists. And they was like, well, you need to get on medicine. Well, when I talked with the functional medicine doctors, they said it's something a little bit different. You just need to get the inflammation under control and focus on your diet. So it's like, you want to take the red pill or the blue pill? I mean, that was what I was really looking at. And, I was suggested to read about Terry Walls, and she was really a big encourager. Her story is amazing. And what she has done to overcome MS, and she still has it, but she's managing it in a natural way. And just from reading her story, it really, was able to empower me to go forward and going towards the more nutritional route. So I dived in. I found out that there was a certification for, holistic nutritionist. And I just knew I was very ignorant when it came to food. I had no idea what food can do. And I knew that if I wanted to become better, I need to become knowledgeable. And I needed to be aware of what I'm buying for me, for my family, and what I'm consuming. So I dived in and I started studying. As I was dealing with this whole MS, I started studying for my holistic nutritionist certification. And I was treating myself. I was kind of like my own guinea pig, like I said. And things started getting better. I did have a lot of fatigue early on, where I couldn't even really I couldn't even sit in a chair. It felt like it was an elephant on me, and I just wanted to just lay down somewhere. That was really how bad it got. With me just sitting in a chair, I was just extremely tired. A lot of that fatigue, the depression, the tingling, the numbness started to dissipate over a period of time once I adjusted my diet. So when I went back in 6 months to, get retested, I had to do another MRI, and I was really nervous. I wasn't sure what I was going to see, and that was really the time for me to find out whether it was going to work. And I got the results back. The doctor called me. I was actually out of town, and he was kind of like scratching his head, like, well, this is very interesting here. And and I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, well, it's good. It's real good here. There's no progression, and the active lesions that I had were no longer active. And that was the best news that he could have told me, because that's what I wanted to hear. Because it was active, which means that it was damaging my body. The inflammation. My immune system was attacking my body. So there was a lot of a lot of active lesions going on, and they were no longer active. And that was like a home run. So the next steps was, so am I okay? It's not active. They're not progressing. And I believe it was because of diet. And he was like, well, it looks good, and you should keep doing what you're doing. And that was pretty much where, we left off. He did say that it looks like it may be a different form of MS, since it was able to be halted through my lifestyle. So now I have been demoted. Before I was like going up the scale to actually having MS, but now I have been demoted by 2 doctors Okay, because just so you know, I did get a second opinion, and both doctors said the same thing. Both doctors said the same thing the first time. You know, you got MS, take medicine. And then when I went back the second time, both doctors said, this is interesting. It may not be MS, it may be CIS, which is clinically isolated syndrome. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, I am managing very well. I'm still on my lifestyle change, you know, as far as my diet. You know, diet to me isn't really something that I use. I mean, people say, well, are you on a diet? I just say I had to change my lifestyle. I had to change, you know, how I look at food, how I identify with food. So it was more of a lifestyle change, you know, which includes the food that I eat. I will be on for the rest of my life. I don't ever intend to go back in abusing food, abusing my body that I've done before, because now I understand that food is medicine. There's a lot of power in food, you know, a lot of good nutritional benefits, potency, and also found in herbs, you know, and we talked about that with, you know, your teas, the medicinal herbs, and then the properties that they have that can really help the body with inflammation or any chronic inflammation. So I launched a business, you know, all during this time. It's like crazy, all in a pandemic in 2020. But,
With
you know, I
kids.
just, yeah, it's just a lot was happening, you know, in 2020. But it's just, I think it was all for a reason. I think everything works out for the good of those who are called according to, who loves God, who are called according to his purpose. So that was my journey in 2020. For 2021, you know, I've started meeting with women, encouraging women to make these changes based upon my own journey, because I know how true it is. It's just not something you read in a book. You know, it actually works. And I know everybody's going to have different results. It's not cookie cutter. But I just eating healthy is, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That will always be a good thing, a good idea, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I just know everybody will also have different results.
So I do have some questions. So now that you were like demoted um, from MS to CIS, or you know, something lessened, um, do you still suffer from some of the things that had happened in the damage? Like, do you still feel the tingling? Do you still have some nerve damage that's still, you know, there? It's not
I have,
as progressing or getting worse, but do you, you know, do you feel that you're not scot-free essentially?
um, I think, you know, this is what I noticed. Okay. I noticed that when I go off and maybe eat the wrong type of food, that I do notice tingling. And it happens pretty quickly. That's when I know, I shouldn't have ate that. Because my body has been so in tune now to used to receiving. Like I eat a lot of green vegetables like collard greens and broccoli, Brussels sprouts. Um, you know, I eat tons of greens and fruits and vegetables. So if I have a bad day and I may pick up a bag of potato chips, I will feel it like 20 minutes, because I will have tingling. And then the next day it's gone. It's very weird. This is just, this is weird. But then that's when I know I should not have ate that. And it's just, I have to be very cautious and aware of that all the time, because it does impact my body. And there is and you know, the damage that was done initially, you know, when my immune system was attacking itself, I mean, that's damage over time. I don't know if it's going to actually heal itself. I mean, but based on the research I heard from doctors that, once it's damaged, it's damaged. I don't know if there's ever been any findings where, the myelin was able to be repaired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's pretty serious.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably good that you went to so many people just trying to find different angles and perspectives too. So, and like you said, everyone's story is different. There's so many different, because you don't know where it's going to attack, how it's going to attack, what your triggers are necessarily, the specifics. But you said that you've switched to, your holistic type of eating, and now you're even helping other people with this too.
Yes. So, just with this, my journey, I would post on my Facebook page because I didn't really want to come out. I wanted to be quiet about this. When I found out about the diagnosis, like my whole world fell, and I didn't want to tell anybody. I was just going to just keep this secret to myself. God, I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in the power and of the Holy Spirit, and I believe in God. And I was, led to pray, during a lot of different times, pray for myself before I even knew about the whole MS thing. And, it just has, once I found out, I was led to come out and speak about it. And when I posted on Facebook, I didn't know what type of response I was going to get, but I had a lot of comments, and it was very positive, and it was comments where other people were also suffering and dealing with health issues, and they didn't tell anybody, and because they didn't know what to do. And I just felt led to really just be more open, just be an open book. I'm like, we all are, living here, in this world. We all go through different things. We all experiencing different things. And so no one is battling anything by themselves. So there's no reason why you should be isolated and be suffering by yourself, because somebody else out there may be going through the same thing, and they may have been able to find solutions or things that can help them. And that was the mindset I was in. I was encouraged to come out and just be more open, and that's kind of how things started developing into a coaching program. Under the Holistic Platter, which is my own business that I run. And basically, the Holistic Platter focus on, works with people who are managing chronic diseases. Chronic diseases meaning like heart disease or diabetes or anything that is chronic where there isn't a cure. Because we know that the medicine isn't going to cure it, it's just going to, maintain it. But over a period of time, medicine will also have repercussions that can also impact your body. So the Holistic Platter, works with people who have been, who have chronic diseases, and they want to be able to manage it in a more healthy way, using alternative means, diet and lifestyle to be able to manage it.
So where can they find out more about the Holistic Platter? Like, what platforms are you on? Do you have a podcast too?
I do have a podcast. I have a lot of platforms, actually. So my website is theholisticplatter.com.
I'll put this in the notes.
So you can go to my website, and I have my story is posted out there. You can also find me on Instagram. It's the Holistic Platter on Instagram. And you can also find me on Facebook. We have a private Facebook community, and I encourage you to join. We share recipes, we share scripture, prayers, exercise, fitness. Everything is holistic. It's all about mind, body, and soul. And I believe we have to never neglect our spiritual being, because our spiritual being needs to be fed too, just as much as our physical being. And it needs to be balanced so we can be able to ensure that we make the best decisions that's good for us. Else it can be difficult, more challenging for us.
Well, thank you, Charnise, so much for coming on and sharing about your personal journey. Here at the Essence of Tea podcast, we love to hear people's stories and journeys about tea, but also and beyond, because we are all different people going through different things. And anything that helps us understand ourselves better and how holistic eating, living, that's tea is very, natural in that form. But what else do we do beyond the cup of tea? And so we are so thankful that you came on and took this time to share your personal journey and what you do for helping people with their health and wellness, especially through chronic diseases, because there's so many people just like you who don't want to say anything. It's almost like it's embarrassing to admit, like, for certain people, not everyone who has a chronic disease, it was because, it was triggered because of poor diet or anything. But for some people, it'd be like, oh, wow, like if this is correlated directly with what I'm eating, then it's almost like a shame. Like I should have done this forever ago, so I wouldn't be in this pickle. But you're an encouragement, because it's like, okay, it's happened. Now what? Right? Whatever that is. Like, what do we do to move forward? Right? To live the best life possible. We're in this life right now. Let's stop worrying about what XYZ happened. What are we going to do about it? And that's what's so encouraging and powerful. So thank you so much for doing something about it and sharing your story with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yep. And all of our listeners out there, if you want to find out more about the Holistic Platter, just look in the show notes, and that way you can find Charnise Cooley and what she's doing and helping other people with other autoimmune diseases through nutrition and using food as medicine. So thank you, everyone.